Today we're going to talk about FHA loans, and where to start. How in the world do you even begin to think about getting an FHA loan? Hey there, I am Christina Sparks, realtor with Real Broker, owner, House of Sparks. And before we get into it, please like, subscribe, all of the things so that my content can show up for everybody else who is in your position, who wants to buy or sell a home and just needs to know the ins and outs and some of the information that goes along with the process. Okay, so today we're talking FHA loans. Where in the world do you start when it comes to trying to get an FHA loan? What is an FHA loan? What are the qualifications? What are the restrictions? Let's go over all of it. First of all, an FHA loan is a government-backed loan. So with that being said, the house in general has to qualify. So we'll go over some of those things before we jump into the actual loan part. It's important to understand that not every house is going to qualify for FHA. Before you even think about getting an FHA loan, really understand that the house itself has to pass the FHA qualifications and guidelines in order for it to even go FHA. So there are a lot of requirements when it comes to an FHA qualifying property. I'll go over some of the basics and things that you can probably just see on pictures online before you even get to the in-person tour, but you can also check these things on an in-person tour. Let me just preface by saying usually a listing will tell you if it will go FHA. There are cases where a seller just doesn't want to sell with an FHA loan. For whatever reason, they don't want to mess with it. Most of the time, it's going to be because they don't want to make any repairs and they don't want to deal with the hassle. One of the common misconceptions with FHA is that the house has to pass inspection. And that's not necessarily true because the inspection and the appraisal are two very different things. You can check out this video and it'll kind of guide you the difference between those two things. But the appraisal is what is going to have to qualify for FHA. So the appraiser will come out and basically go over the property in a very general way. They're not going to go as in-depth as an inspection would, so make sure you still get your inspection, please. So some of the requirements that the FHA appraiser is going to be looking for are going to be mostly safety and health concerns. So you're looking at peeling paint. There can't be any peeling paint inside or outside. The roof has to have at least 2 years of life left. There can't be any visible sagging or drywall issues inside the home. There can't be any cracks in the foundation, and I'm talking like severe structural integrity cracks, like big ones. The house must pass a termite inspection. So let's say you have your termite inspection done, there's evidence of termites or termite damage. That will have to be remedied before FHA will approve your loan, meaning the damage has to be repaired, and or if there's active termites, that has to be treated, which can get costly. Inside the house must be equipped with smoke fire alarms and CO2 detectors. All of the windows must function properly. Can't have any sticking windows or non-operating windows, and that goes for doors as well. Now, of course, there's some other obvious things, like the kitchen must have adequate space for a refrigerator and a stove. The plumbing must function, the electrical must function and be on when the appraiser comes for that visit. So basically the FHA appraiser is going to be checking for the 3 S's is what they call it: safety, soundness, and security. So as you're going through the pictures, or if you're touring a house and you are qualified for an FHA loan, make sure you're taking a closer look at some of these things, because you can always ask for these things to be remedied within the offer, knowing that you are submitting an FHA offer. Okay, now let's move on to the loan part. You want to know where to start when it comes to qualifying for an FHA loan. So I'm going to go over some real basic requirements. Please keep in mind that your individual credit profile will determine whether or not you qualify for an FHA loan. So please keep that in mind. While these are the standard general guidelines for an FHA loan. So an FHA loan has an umbrella of 3.5% down, which is a very low down payment for people who just don't have a ton of cash sitting in their bank account. And with that 3.5% can be gifted. So gifts are allowed with an FHA loan, meaning if you don't have that 3.5% down, you can receive a gift from a family member, a friend, whatever the case may be, for that down payment. Now, keep in mind that gift is going to subject that gift giver to a sort of background screening. They're going to want to know where that money came from and if it hinders that person financially. So the max FHA loan is $541,000-ish. So you can't purchase a home more than $541,000. The minimum credit score for an FHA loan is 580. That's pretty awesome. And when it comes to seller concessions, meaning seller credits, you're asking sellers to pay for your closing costs. The max percentage that you are allowed to ask is 6% of the offer or purchase price. Now, with an FHA loan, there are no income limits. There's no cap on how much money you make. You can still qualify for the FHA loan. The FHA loan also allows a non-occupying cosigner. So if you're young, if you're a first-time home buyer and your parents or a sibling or somebody else is willing to co-sign for you, they don't have to live in the house with you to be able to co-sign for you. A caveat with FHA loans is that you will be paying private mortgage insurance for the life of the loan, the entire life of the loan, unless you refinance, of course, to a conventional loan or whatever. So PMI, you can learn more here. Essentially, it is a extra dollar amount insurance because you have not made a full 20% down payment. So of course, FHA is a great loan to get people into a home. As your credit profile strengthens and increases over time, you can always refinance this FHA loan to a conventional loan to drop off that PMI. But overall, the FHA loan is a great program to get you into a house. I hope you learned something about where to start when it comes to an FHA loan. Hopefully you learned about what houses qualify and what the basic loan structure is for an FHA loan. If you have any questions, please reach out to me. I am happy to help any way that I can. Have a great day.